Oh boy, it's been a minute. It has been a very long minute, and it is blurry in here. But hello, everybody. This is Desder100 coming at you with my biannual video. And this one is going to be a little off the kilter. So, I was doing some outside of some classes that I was scheduling. I was going through the interwebs, and one of the biggest controversies in terms of entertainment of the year was probably the Little Mermaid remake. One of those nostalgic Disney cash grabs that Disney throws out there to cash in on Disney adults and people who just want to perpetually stay in the 90s. And I came across this one video, which is bashing probably the most controversial song of the movie, and that is the Scuttlebutt. Now, if you don't know what the Scuttlebutt is, or even what the word means, well, Scuttlebutt is basically an old timey way to talk about gossip. Nowadays, people would call it the tea, and the actual song is one of the three new songs added to the live action remake by Lin Manuel Miranda. And as with almost everything from this movie, this song turned into a huge cultural war debate, uh, and it's nonsensical. My take on this is that Disney loves to pump out these remakes, and they love to stir up as much controversy as possible by degrading their original as some weird problematic relic, and then they do all the stunt casting by hiring people of color to play the leads and keep pushing this narrative through PR that this new version is so progressive, only for it to be usually 90.9% the same, with only a few new bells and whistles that barely add anything that wasn't there before. They end up pissing off people who were fans of the original, and they get radicalized to go out and see it to show how much better it was, while simultaneously stroking, more progressive audiences to want to go out and support this for representation. All in all, Disney ends up winning. And then more stuff comes out about Disney to show how little they actually care about the cost, like Bob Iger downplaying the writer's strike and asking why they're trying to ruin a good thing, despite him making millions of dollars every single year. All that aside, I came across this one video that was kind of viral by one Miss Aster Winemaster, which basically details the scuttlebutt. And I even saw this when it dropped. Twitter, Facebook, all these places were basically coming after Lin Manuel and Aquafina. And this video was like a regurgitation of all of that. It was 70% bashing the scuttlebutt and 30% essentially making Lin Manuel Miranda the fall guy of the popification of Disney, which is to say, Disney going pop, which is kind of ridiculous. But I think it must be said that Lin did not cause Disney to go pop or produce mainstream music or whatever. Disney was well into that, you know, thing uh, years. That is to say that Disney was already making pop music as early as the Renaissance. And if you really want to push it, they hired popular musicians to help them create music for Cinderella in the 1950s. So Disney has always been about making pop. This isn't a new thing. And in the modern era, Let It Go is probably the biggest Disney song that sounds like a pop song. It sounds like a Taylor Swift song. So no, Lin Manuel was not the reason Disney decided to move towards more contemporary music, nor will he be the last reason why they did that. Uh, I But that is all that spill is to say. Lin has only worked on like three and a half movies for them. Frozen came out in 2013 and was a Billboard's giant. So no, it's not his fault that Disney has moved towards contemporary music. They move with the times. They see what's popular and then they attribute that to their music. But this song was basically, this song, the Scuttlebutt, was it's basically a song about Scuttle haphazardly trying to relay to Ariel and Sebastian what's going on and how the prince is about to get married to somebody else who's not Ariel. And because Scuttle is a schizophrenic bird, they're trying to explain something but don't have the words to say it, while all the while getting distracted by all these things that come into their head. It's a very ADD song, and this song is incredibly controversial. Now, to me, uh, I think the song is bad, yes, but it's not bad because it's rap, or it's not bad because this or that. Because number one, some people have known this at Lynn and even I guess more modern Disney films that X or Y doesn't fit in the setting. Well, first of all, Disney has never been consistent about what does fit in their setting. Take Mulan. Mulan is a film based off of a Chinese legend. It features an almost entire Asian cast, and they speak in a very specific dialect. Despite this, though, we have Eddie Murphy playing the sidekick Mushu, acting like Eddie Murphy in ancient China. Does that fit the setting? In The Jungle Book, a film set in pre colonial India, we have King Louis and Baloo the Bear, two characters that jump and jive and sing Dixieland numbers. Do they fit the setting? In Aladdin, we have Robin Williams as the genie, who, despite this Middle Eastern setting, constantly makes references to various pop culture icons like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Groucho Marx, Cap Calloway. Does the genie fit the setting? Most people would just say yes, because hey, they grew up with it. Why should we question it? But my thing is, it's inconsistent. The Disney characters and songs can sound and talk however Disney sees fit. There is no consistency. So why are we saying that a certain genre of music doesn't belong in a film when Disney has clearly not followed the manuscript before in all of their films, even the really, really good ones? No, the Scuttlebutt is not bad because it's a rap song. That's nonsensical to me. And I also feel like we shouldn't be using this and maybe other songs in the remake to somehow disavow Lin Manuel's talents, because you can not be a fan of something while also not trying to downplay the impact that it's had. Because whether you like something or you do like it, objectively, if something is incredibly popular, like immensely popular to the point that you have scholars and all of these other professionals highly regarding it and studying it, then clearly it's of merit. Now, pedaling back to this video that I saw by this Aster Rhyme Master individual, this video more or less, like I said in the video earlier, kind of perpetuates the narrative that Lin Manuel is the one who kind of bought this weird poppy, gimmicky style to Disney, despite the fact that they were doing this well before he even came. Like I said, Frozen's Let It Go. Even if you like Let It Go, I'm kind of meh on it. It's a pop song. It sounds exactly like something you would hear on the radio, like on 97.1 or something. Uh, and I think the thing about the Scuttlebutt and why it doesn't work is for three reasons. Reason number one, it's the placement. This is right before the climax of the Little Mermaid remake, from what I've seen. And by this point, we already know who Scuttle is, and we, the audience, are already aware of what happened. So having Scuttle reiterate this to Ariel and Sebastian is really, really grating because we're watching Scuttle poorly explain something that we, the audience, already saw. So it's pointless in that regard. Number two, it gives the comic relief way too much to do. Now, I know Aquafina is basically like the token Asian that Disney loves to milk because she was in Shang-Chi, she's in Raya, she was in this remake. But it's giving Scuttle way too much to do when what Scuttle did before was perfectly fine. So it ends up becoming really, really grating. Like it's trying really, really hard to be funny. And the thing that it's saying is ultimately redundant because we already know this. Songs are supposed to tell us things that we're not aware of. So it just doesn't work. Even if the Scuttlebutt was a good song, like even if it was somewhat decent, like Positivity from the Broadway musical, it still wouldn't work because it's still Scuttle doing the same exact thing. The placement is what kills it. And finally, Aquafina just can't sing, and that's the joke. But the big issue here is that it's she's already sung before and kissed the girl more than the original Scuttle did, and it's just really, really grating. So all this merged together creates a hodgepodge of acid for your ears. Now, I feel like if this had to be included, this should have been in the film when we very first meet Scuttle. This establishes several things. Number one, this is where Ariel gets her information from. It's from Scuttle. Two, we see Scuttle's personality. Three, we see that Scuttle is kind of like this midpoint between those who live in the ocean and those who live in the human world. But because Scuttle isn't really a part of human society, Scuttle doesn't know what the hell they're talking about. So they're giving Ariel this exaggerated or hyperbolic information about humans, which for tells Sebastian, okay, Ariel, you have a romanticized version of the human world, and Scuttle isn't helping you because Scuttle can't really articulate the things that they see in the human world that goes on. There's a lot of things that putting this song earlier would have fixed. Now, would the song have been good? I I think it would be just better just based on the placement that it would serve a bigger purpose. It lets us know who Scuttle is as a person. It establishes where Ariel is getting her information from. And it also shows that Ariel may or may not be in over her head going to the human world, which also gets Sebastian the idea to want to go with Ariel. And when Sebastian and Scuttle team up near the climax of the film, it's kind of like a payoff because Sebastian has managed to bond with a creature who lives on the land, which in a way kind of proves Ariel's point a bit more. I think there's just a lot you could have done if you placed this earlier. Now, in regards to this basically being a good example of Lin Manuel being a poor writer or inserting random pop songs, as Astro Rhyme Master said, I think that's cap because the big issue, and this isn't even just an attack at this person, but just a lot of things that I've seen on the internet, especially on things like DVD reviews. Uh, Not being a fan of a particular style does not mean that the thing that you do not like doesn't have any merit, like I said. Particularly, Todd in the Shadow said this too, but she said, his songs are overwritten or they lack structure and they feel like gimmicky pop songs. And that is simply not true. This is just downplaying a person's talents just because you're not a fan of their style. And you can, like I said, you can dislike something, but objectively speaking, something like this wouldn't be, or Hamilton and The Heights and Kanto, even more recently, would not be as well regarded as they are if there weren't some artistic merit to it. You don't have to like them, but there is a lot of stuff there. Just looking at something like Surface Pressure, you criticize the rapid rhyming, and it takes away from what the character is trying to say. And I disagree. Louisa rhyming back to back to back to back to back represents things being piled on her more and more and more. She's trying to say she's okay, but she's not really okay. And then eventually, halfway into the song, there's that break where she's like, "But wait, if I could shake," you know that. It's been a while since I've heard the song, but there's a sense of relief, but there's no release. Louisa compares herself to being as strong as the earth. Even though the earth is kind of strong metaphorically, it still can crumble very easily. And a lot of natural disasters are tied to the earth. Mhm, mhm. Uh, so the thing is that there's a lot of stuff in these lyrics that tell us that Louisa is about to break, but she's still trying to hold herself back from having that release. But this also caps off Mirabelle and the audience that everybody is suffering under this patriarchy that Abuela has kind of perpetuated to her descendants. And even with Your Welcome, right? Your Welcome not only tells us a lot about Maui's braggadocious behavior, but it also kind of shows us that Maui is compensating for something. It's like he's trying to sell his own legends to Moana to show how great he is. And we see that, yeah, he is compensating for something because Tamatoa, like 2 songs later, Shiny reveals that, yeah, Maui was a guy who has been abandoned by the gods and he was never really accepted by humans. So he's like this odd midpoint, between humans and gods. And he's constantly feeling the need to prove himself to show how valid he is. There is a lot to take away from these songs. And I think just writing them off and saying that they're just gimmicky and they don't work, even though these songs are incredibly popular, like Encanto went platinum. Like the Hamilton soundtrack is the first Broadway album in history to go diamond. All that is to say that you can't just criticize them for not doing the thing that you want a good Disney musical to do, but then they actually are doing the things that you want them to do. But because you don't like the style, you're just tossing it aside and treating it as worthless. Hey, Hazel. Um, but that's basically what I'm trying to say. I don't think that the Scuttlebutt is the worst thing I've ever heard. I don't think it's good either. But I think the big issue is its placement. It's placed in the like almost right before the climax, and it tells us nothing that we didn't already know. If this was our introduction to Scuttle and it had been rewritten as an introduction, and it's Scuttle just telling Ariel about human stuff, it would have been way better and actually would have like set the stage for a lot of things to come. But again, I don't blame Lynn. I don't blame Howard. I don't blame Alan Menken. It's Disney. Disney said, "Hey, that Encanto thing worked well, and we also have stock in Hamilton too. Let's put another one of those in this movie, Lynn. The kids will love it." And I guess they did because the Scuttlebutt, despite all of its infamy, has become popular. But I also feel like you can criticize something without attacking the artist behind it because Disney is the one who calls the shots with all of these remakes. They have the final say, but they don't care. The Disney who made the original 1989 Little Mermaid movie and the Disney who made this remake are two different companies. The former is a was a company that was losing relevancy and had everything to prove, and if they didn't prove that, they would have lost everything. The Disney that made the remake is a mega corporation who owns like 95% of Hollywood, and regardless of which way the wind blows, they're going to make bank anyways off of butthurt people who feel like the original's being ruined and from audiences that have been manipulated by the socio-political dog whistles that Disney has been throwing out. So no, it's not Lynn's fault because Disney is throwing themselves into pop music, nor is it his fault that the remake is the way it is. It's Disney, and it's always been Disney. And until these remakes stop selling and people quit falling for their antics, we're going to keep on getting mediocrity, and Disney's going to keep on slipping in terms of quality. But that's it. Uh, I'm probably going to try to edit this stream a bit, and that's all I have to say. This was a quick one. I'm probably going to try to do another stream later. I have to set up some English classes, but that's it. This is Desder 100 out.